Hey guys, and welcome to the third episode of Elder Scrolls Online Saturday. Today we're going to be discussing zones in Elder Scrolls Online. So, they released the interactive map of Tamriel a little bit before I started doing my podcast, and it's something that I think was pretty important, but because I started my podcast after, I didn't really get a chance to cover it. And since there was no news this week, there was just like a developer question of the week, I figured I'd focus on that this week, and then next week I'd get back into doing the regular weekly news. So we'll be going over all the zones that will be in the game at launch, talking a little bit about the lore behind them, what they're going to look like, and stuff like that. There'll be pictures on the screen of each zone while I talk about it, so if you guys want to check those out, you can keep the video open. And after we cover the zones, we'll be going over the developer question of the week, and I actually really like this one. I think the last couple ones have been okay. I really like this one, and we'll get into that, and then that'll wrap up the episode. This episode should be around 25 minutes just because there are a lot of zones. And I'm sorry that I'm posting this on Sunday, I forgot to mention that before. Yesterday was actually my birthday, so I was doing stuff with the family. I had like a dinner and stuff, so I wasn't able to upload a video, but hopefully next week we'll get back on track of every Saturday uploading a video. I'm really enjoying uploading these podcasts, so I'm going to keep doing these for the foreseeable future. So let's just get into the content this week. Alright, so let's talk about the zones first. So, if you guys have played MMOs, most of them use a zone system. So, different zones have different levels. So, let's say you're level 5. If you go in a level 20 zone, you're just going to get slaughtered because all the enemies there are level 20 and you're level 5. So, you're going to be in like more of the starter zone for level 5s through like probably like 5 through 7. So every zone has a level, and you can't really go in a zone that's higher than your level or you get slaughtered. And if you go in a zone that's like way below your level, it'll just be way too easy and it won't be fun at all. So that's part of why I don't like the zone system for Elder Scrolls Online. It does work with some MMOs, and it does give sort of a feeling of progression throughout the game, and that's why they say they did it, because they want to feel like you can go back to the starter area and just destroy everything, and they want you to be able to feel like you have evolved as a character. And I get that, but I mean, in every Elder Scrolls game, the whole purpose, the whole base of the game is being able to run in one direction and just have find quests, and just knowing that if I run in this direction, I will find something to do, and it'll be awesome, and I'll have a great time. And I think this is really going to destroy it, because now the feeling is going to be I can run this direction for like, I don't know, 10 minutes, and then I'm going to reach a border, and if I go past it, I'm going to get slaughtered by all the enemies because I'm not high enough level. With that being said, though, these zones are way bigger than we've seen in other MMOs. I mean, these are huge. If you look on the map, which I'll put on the screen right now, it's just huge. I mean, these zones are a good chunk of every province that they're in. So, I mean, it's not going to be like in Guild Wars. There were some zones, especially the starter zones, that were like really small. Don't think about them like that, and you'll definitely be able to just run in a direction to find stuff, and I'm sure there'll be an overwhelming amount of content, but I really wish it was open world. I wish that I could start the game, and just if I want to, like, I could just like check out Skyrim, just run over there because I like being in Skyrim. So just, get on a horse, go to Skyrim, just ignore the main quest for a little bit, and just do a bunch of side quests in Skyrim. And I wish you could do that, but you're not going to be able to get to Skyrim until you progress through the storyline, or else you're going to get just killed by all the enemies there, because they'll be like a level, I don't know, 30, and then you'll be a level 5. And so that's the zone system pretty much explained. And again, I don't like it, but it's really too late to change anything about it. They have it set in place. So I think the game would have been a lot better if they didn't have zones, but we'll just have to wait and see how it comes out and just kind of, I don't know, deal with it, I guess. So that being said, let's talk about all the zones that have been confirmed for the game, and we're gonna go behind what's happening in the zones at the time, like give you some of the background on the regions of each province, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to start with the Ebonheart Pact. So every alliance has a starter place where the members of that alliance will start, and then from there they'll progress through the story. It really introduces you to the world. So Ebonheart Pact starter place is the Bleak Rock Isle, and it's a small group of people who are put there, and they look out for enemy ships, and it's a pretty small island from what you can see on the map. It's pretty small compared to the other provinces, and that makes sense because it's a starter island. We have seen some pictures there. There's like a mill or a windmill. It looks pretty cool. It's definitely really snowy. So let's move on to the Rift. So a lot of you guys will be familiar with this because I'm betting a lot of you guys played Skyrim. So the Rift is obviously where Riften is, and it hasn't changed much since Skyrim, or I should say Skyrim didn't change much from Elder Scrolls because this game does take place before Skyrim. But it's still a very autumn forest. There's a lot of birch trees. Except you guys remember Riften being really run down, and this game is really going to be the center of trade for the Ebonheart Pact. It's also going to be like the center of war. It's definitely going to be a very rich town, very popular, and it kind of makes sense because it's a trading town because it is on a dock, and it definitely was meant to be a trading town in Skyrim, just really poor, and obviously the Thieves Guild had a role in that. But yeah, in this game, it's just definitely going to be a lot brighter of a city, and definitely more, probably rich. We don't know anything about the Thieves Guild, so I don't know if the Thieves Guild will be here, but it is rumored that the Thieves Guild has been in Riften as long as the city was made, so I'm sure the Thieves Guild will be in Riften. So it's kind of weird, but we'll have to see what that's like. So I'm sure the Ratway will still be there. But the town's definitely going to look a lot different. It's definitely going to be brighter than it was in Skyrim. So also the Rift has a town called Nimmelton that was in the arena, the first Elder Scrolls game, and it's coming back for Elder Scrolls Online. And those are Riften's the city in that region, and Nimmelton is the town. So now let's move on to Eastmarch. So again, this is Skyrim, and the city in Eastmarch is Windhelm. So obviously, guys, you all know Windhelm if you played Skyrim. Really snowy. The city's all made out of stone, and they mentioned that there are going to be a lot of creatures in Eastmarch. They said that giants are going to inhabit the area a lot, as you guys probably know from Skyrim. They also said a bunch of other mysterious creatures. So I'm wondering if maybe the werewolves will be in Windhelm, and that's where the quest will be, where you can become a werewolf. That's not confirmed or anything, that's just completely speculation. Yeah, but at this point, it sounds like Eastmarch is definitely going to be a really harsh area to be in. So let's move on to all the regions in Morrowind. So the first one we have is Dishan, and Dishan, it has really fertile land. The ash from the volcanoes enrich the soil, and the center of Dishan is the Tribunal Temple, which is the center of worship in the Dunmerk culture. Dishan is really the center of Dunmerk culture in Morrowind. And also the capital of Morrowind, Mournhold, is in Dishan too. So it's definitely going to be really the center of Morrowind in the game. Next, let's move on to Stonefalls, and Stonefalls is really a really diverse region, probably the most diverse in the game. It has a lot of volcanic areas. It also has a lot of places with ginormous mushrooms like we saw in Morrowind. Definitely a very diverse landscape, and also in Stonefalls, the Akavirians just invaded. If you guys don't know what the Akavirians are, those are the people who live in the continent bordering Tamriel, which is Akavir. They're known as the Dragon People. We actually have like no record about what they look like. It's something I'm really curious about. But anyway, so they just invaded, and they were defeated there. So I'm sure we'll hear a lot of mention about that when you're exploring that area. Also, this place also does have a lot of really good soil because of the volcano. The ash fertilizes the soil. Alright, and the town in Stonefall is Devon's Watch, and the Fungal Grotto is the dungeon here. I'm sure you guys are very familiar with the gameplay by now because I put it in all of my videos, and everyone pretty much doing Elder Scrolls Online video has put it in a video at some point. It's the dungeon they showed up as QuakeCon. I'm sure you guys have all seen it. If you haven't, I'll probably be playing it later in the video, so just keep looking for that. Now let's talk about Black Marsh. So the only region in Black Marsh is Shadowfen. A lot of Black Marsh is inhabitable, at least by non-Argonians, because it's really swampy. The city in Shadowfen is Stormhold, and this Shadow Scales play a big role in this area. And if you guys don't know the Shadow Scales, those are the those are the Argonians born under the sign of the Shadow, and they are trained, and they work as assassins for Black Marsh. And they also work with the Dark Brotherhood. It's sort of an alliance of convenience between the Black Marsh and the Dark Brotherhood, but they definitely work together. But also Sithis does play a big role in Argonian religion, so it's definitely an alliance that the two have, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of talk about that in the game, because it is really interesting. I thought about making a Shadow Scale character, but I decided to make a Nord instead. But the lore behind it is really awesome, and if you guys don't know about it, you should look more on like the wiki and stuff like that. So also they mentioned that Hitamine is the administrator of Argonian affairs, so we'll definitely be talking to him or her. I actually have no idea if it's a guy or a girl, it doesn't mention on the wiki. But we will definitely be meeting her or him, and I'm sure they'll play a big role in the storyline. So that's all the areas for the Ebonheart Pack, so now let's go into the Daggerfall Covenant areas. So the starter island for the Daggerfall Covenant is Stroh's McKee, and you guys will be familiar with this if you saw the leaked gameplay that was leaked in the summer. It's really the first gameplay we saw from Elder Scrolls Online. That was where that gameplay took place. So there's a bunch of Dwemer ruins all over the island like we saw in the leaked gameplay. And there are a bunch of pirates and smugglers, and they sort of have a safe haven there. And Headman Boshek, the Bloody, that's definitely, I definitely pronounced that wrong, but Headman Boshek the Bloody, he rules the land, and he's sort of a appointed warlord of the island, so I'm sure the storyline will have to do with you taking him down. Maybe you'll get a choice of either to take him down or join him. I think that'd be really cool, because I'm all for role-playing choices. I think if you want to play a bad character who would be happy to help the pirates, I think you should totally be able to do that. So the next region in Hammerfell is the Alik'r Desert, and so this is just desert wasteland. Hammerfell is obviously a desert place. It's where the Red Guards are from. So this area is just going to be completely desert, and it's going to have some ancient ruins in it that are inhabited by obviously creatures and monsters. So I'm sure a lot of the storyline in this area is going to have to do with those ancient ruins. And Sentiel is the port city, and it's here in the Alik'r Desert Zone. Alik'r, I think. These names are so hard to pronounce, but anyway, Sentiel is the capital. It's sort of like port city, and they have said that this faction called the Gallants are in the city, but they haven't really said anything about them. But I'm sure we'll get to know them during the story. And this is Sentiel is kind of like Riften. It's a huge trade city. It's really the center of trade for the Daggerfall Covenant. So let's talk about towns in this area. We have Tavest Blessing, and it was later renowned Lanlian for the Lanlian family, and we have Bergama. So moving on to the next zone in Hammerfell, we have Bang Courier. So it's just mostly going to be desert, but with some woodlands. And there are a lot of Daedric worshippers here, and we know that they've been torching farms and attacking traders. So again, I'm sure in this zone, a lot of the storyline will be having to do with taking out the Daedric worshippers, doing that. Also, the Imperial forces are marching south on Bang Courier, because Bang Courier. These are so hard to pronounce. But anyway, so I'm sure they'll be marching. The Imperials will be marching down from the south into Bang Courier, and I'm sure the storyline will have to be you defending the area. It's pretty easy to predict from what they've released already. So since the Imperials are marching down, I'm sure you'll have to defend against them, and obviously take out the Daedric worshippers in this area. So there are two cities in Bang Courier, and this Evermore and Hallenstand. We really don't know any information on that, but those are the two cities there. So one zone that they're adding in Hammerfell after launch is Hagather, and like I said, it's going to be added after launch for monthly, as monthly content. So obviously you pay the subscription fee and you get that. Moving on, we have all the zones in High Rock. We have the island of Benki, and this is Orc controlled. It's really the only place that is Orc controlled, because there are no zones in Orznium. So really, we're just gonna see that one place with Orc controlled. And I don't know why they did this, because I actually really like the Orc. I like all the lore behind the Orcs, like society. I like the strongholds in Skyrim. I liked being part of those. So I wish they had some zones in that area, but I guess they don't. So this really is going to be the only area that the Orcs control. They recently took it from the Brentons before this whole war started, and they had to make an alliance. But it has a bunch of lush forests, and it has good farmland. But the area has a necromancy problem as well as a flying bug problem. That's really all they've said about it, but I'm sure, again, the storyline will have to do with taking care of those problems. So the next area in High Rock is Glenumbra, and it has woods and swamps, but the biggest thing here is that werewolves have again been spotted, so I'm sure the quest to become a werewolf for the Daggerfall Covenant will be in this area. The city of Daggerfall is here, and again, that's a huge city. Obviously, it's the Daggerfall Covenant, so there's a huge city. It might even be the major city, like where Emmerich, the Merchant King, resides. I don't know. They haven't really said, but it's possible that that will be the place. There are also two other cities. One is Camlorn, and that's the city that's been taken over by werewolves that they mentioned in a couple interviews. It's actually been taken over by an undead werewolf named Faluchu and his army of werewolves. So they actually mentioned in an interview that you'll have to clear out that city, and then you'll be like the hero, and everyone will treat you like a hero there. So we already know that that's confirmed. And then the other city is Aldercroft or Aldcroft. They haven't released any information on that city. So the next zone is Riven Sphere, and it's a shadowy, gloomy, dark area. It actually looks really cool. There's a bunch of jagged rocks, and it's the home of the Mages Guild. So yeah, check some of those pictures out on the screen, because really that zone just looks beautiful. Other than that, we have Stormhaven, and that has the capital of the Daggerfall Covenant, which is Wayrest, which is a major trading city. I wouldn't be surprised if Emmerich, the Merchant King, lives here, just because obviously he's a huge merchant guy, and this is a major trading city. It's also the capital, so I would definitely expect him to live here. Again, they haven't mentioned it, but I'm sure that this will be probably the biggest city in the Daggerfall Covenant area. So that's pretty much it for the Daggerfall Covenant, and let's get into the All-Merry Dominion area. So the starting zone for the All-Merry Dominion is Cairness Roost, and it has a lot of calm beaches and tropical forests. You'll also find a lot of moon sugar plantations, because we all know Khajiits are famous for that. Lots of Khajiits like to fish in the area, and there's a huge conflict going on right now because the Sea Elves, which I'm really excited to see in the game, are really mad because the All-Merry Dominion claimed that the land was theirs, the Cairness Roost was theirs, and so the Sea Elves have been patrolling the waters and taking over trade vessels that the All-Merry Dominion sells to Elsewire, and they've been seizing the goods inside or capturing the ship's crew prisoners. So it's leading up to this huge conflict. It's said the All-Merry Dominion have tried to make peace talks, but none of them have worked at all, and the Sea Elves are working with these cultists that can control the sea, and they're planning on using the sea to their advantage. So I'm sure this is going to be the main plot in this starter island, and it sounds pretty cool. I'm really excited to see the Sea Elves. Hopefully we get like more information about them. I'm really excited. Obviously when there's a new race, I'm really excited. I'm a huge lore guy. So that knowing more about the Sea Elves is really exciting to me. So another zone in Elsewire is Anaquina, but we know like literally nothing about that, so just know that that's a zone, but we really know nothing about it, so I'm not going to talk about it at all. One zone we know a lot about is Reaper's March, and this is really, I think, going to be this is really the center of Elsewire. The main city there is Dune, and it sounds like it's really going to be the center city of all of Elsewire. It's really grassy here, not as beachy and tropical as Cairness Roost is. It definitely sounds like this is more grassy, and we're getting closer into elf territory in this zone. So definitely the center, and probably where we'll be spending most time in Elsewire, because this does sound like it's definitely going to be the center of Elsewire, and where most of the Khajiits are. So now let's go into the places in Somerset Isles. So there's Ardian, and it's in the east, and it's really beautiful. They have these like tall, exotic pink trees that just look gorgeous, and you can see those on the tree, on the screen. Sorry. And there are some elegant cities. You know, the elves are always sort of like think they're superior, so I'm sure they'll be all like fancy and proper. And then there's two cities there are Firsthold and Skywatch. So moving on to that's the only zone in the Somerset Isles, but we have three in Valenwood to kind of make up for that. So we have Gratwood, which is the capital. Eldenroot is the capital for the All-Merry Dominion, and that's located here. So this is definitely going to be a huge zone in terms of like the story and stuff. And this is in the southwest Valenwood. So definitely going to be a big part. I think some of the concept art for this just looks beautiful. I actually have it as my desktop for my computer right now. Yeah, but it just looks beautiful, and definitely it's going to be the capital for the All-Merry Dominion, like I said. So we'll definitely be spending a lot of time here. There's also Greenshade, and Marbuk is the city there, and there's a huge Thalmor presence here. Also, another interesting thing is that they said that a lot of Hercene followers have been seen here, so maybe this is another place where we can get that quest to become a werewolf and unlock that skill tree or a skill line, and that's really cool. It's really exciting because remember, you can't just decide to be a werewolf when you're creating your character. You actually have to find the quest in the game, and that's how you unlock the ability and the skill line and all of that. So that's pretty exciting, and I'm betting that that is going to be where you can become a werewolf in the game. There's probably going to be more than one, because obviously the Ebonheart people can't go to the All-Mary Dominion area until they finish their own content in the Ebonheart Pact area. So I'm guessing each alliance will have a place where they can become a vampire or a werewolf. So now, moving on, we have Mabal Tor, and I think this place is really awesome. It has so many trees that it blocks the sunlight, so it's really shady. I actually think this is probably my favorite looking zone that I've seen so far in the game. Some of the concept art, just they do a really good job of their concept art, and it just looks completely beautiful. So I'm really excited for that too. And so far, the All-Mary Dominion place is just looking so beautiful. Their area is just gorgeous. But I mean, the elves have always taken pride in the beauty of their land, so it's not really surprising. So now let's get into the developer question of the week.
Hi, my name is Jim Garner. I'm an associate producer here with The Elder Scrolls Online, and I have your question of the week. You're given the opportunity to be a Daedric prince for a day. You have great power and no morals. What would you do?
So if I was a Daedra, I would do so many things. I always loved Daedric lore, so this was an awesome question for me. I really liked it. But if I was a Daedra and I had to do one thing, I would definitely start a cult. In Skyrim, I really liked Namira's cult. I kind of liked... I always liked the quests where Daedras get involved in the lives of mortals, and that always interests me. So if I was a Daedra, I would definitely screw around with humans or mortals, and definitely start a cult and get a bunch of followers. So that's what I would do if I was a Daedra. So if you guys have any ideas of what you guys would do, just put that in the comment, and I'd be happy to read them and talk to you about that with you guys. So that pretty much wraps it for this week's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. The editing actually took me a really long time, so hopefully you guys think it was worth the wait. Again, I'm sorry I couldn't post yesterday. It was my birthday and I was doing stuff with the family. But next week we'll be back on a regular schedule, and as always, if you have any more questions, just send them in or put them on the comments, either one. I'd be more than happy to answer those. And yeah, that pretty much does it. We'll have definitely more videos this week on upcoming games. So if you're interested, just stay tuned to my channel and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.